We're back, Boots. Itong second segment, maganda siguro maintindihan tayo ng mas nakararami, no? Kasi ang pinakabuod ng dinidiscuss natin yung katotohanan eh. Kasi kanina medyo professional, scientific. Minsan sa Pilipinas, iba yung mundo ng science eh. Iba yung mundo ng realidad eh. Iba yung mundo ng mayayaman, iba yung mundo ng mahihirap eh. So, talagang ang punto dito, yung ano yung katotohanan na to, no? What I'm hoping for as an economist is sana pakinggan ito ng mga politiko para magkaroon ng direction yung bansa natin. Kasi naubos yung sabi nga ni Sixto eh, actually we're scraping the bottom of the barrel. At hindi natin inaayos yung sitwasyon para dumami yung laman. Actually, you're talking about it a while ago. I don't think the schools of thought in economics will be able to do that now eh. Kasi in the first place, anong ekonomiya i-manage nila, no?
That's right.
I mean, could you expound on this? Well, ano ko malinaw sa isip mo yan?
Well, one time, I'll just the culprit here, Ernie, I think, is our education. It's your education, my education, everybody's education, including the next generation and probably the generation afterwards, depending on how old we are.
Yeah.
Okay? Why do I say our education? And I don't just mean economics, but economics is included here.
Okay.
We were taught what to think, but we were never taught how to think. What do I mean? When you go to school ever since elementary, our style of education made sure that we knew certain things that the teacher had fed us. No? And we're supposed to memorize these things. If it's a formula in math, or an idea here, or a color here, or whatever else that we're supposed to memorize, we memorized it, right? And then they give us a test. If you memorize so much, they give you a high grade, and if you didn't memorize, they give you a low grade. And your whole education was actually based on that. They give you axioms, postulates, formulas, right? As if though that was the education. And if you are able to name them and answer problems using certain formulas, they give you a high grade. They just don't graduate you in college. They just don't graduate you in master's and doctoral. They even give you a PhD. Okay. How? Because you are able to memorize. Ernie, a parrot can memorize. Dogs and other animals can memorize. They react that way. But only human beings are able to look at the problem without that, without the tools of what they had memorized, and are able to solve the problem using his creativity. It's a quality that has been given to all human beings, and only to human beings, what you call creativity, being able to come up with concepts and ideas. Look at what happens to an economist who, after facing this kind of crisis, he goes to his desk and starts computing his GDP, and comes out with a GDP of 7% growth rate, right? Despite the fact that another agency in government has already announced that the number of starving families have increased by 15%.
Yeah.
How do you put that together? More people dying, and you're saying that you have an economic growth rate of 7%. This is the anomaly, right? And I don't understand why our economists and some NEDA heads and other NED, even previous to that, are so happy to announce that the GDP had increased on a per capita basis by so much. I remember there was a NEDA head, I will not mention his name. Okay, I'll mention his name. His name is Neri. Okay. He came up with a press conference because he was happy to announce that the GDP had increased. And he was asked, to what do you attribute this increase in GDP? He was asked by a press person. And he attributed it to the drop in the population growth rate. Okay. What does that mean? Sometimes many people don't understand this. A drop in population growth rate does not necessarily mean more people, less people giving birth. A drop in population growth rate means more people dying.
Yeah.
More people losing their lives because they are starving and they're poor, they got sick, no money to have themselves cured, right?
I see.
So what was this NEDA head happy about? That because of their economic policy, more people have died.
Yeah.
And that was what he was happy to announce to the press and to the whole country. This is the anomaly. And this is the sad thing. Because these types of people are the ones that are advising these presidentiables. And like I said, the blind leading the blind. And these presidentiables whose only real research group studies how much this candidate had stolen, or whether he has psychiatric problems, or whether how many wives he has, or whether somebody had stolen so much money, right? That's what they're focused on, so that they will become president. But they're not coming up with these ideas so that the people will understand that this guy knows the problem. If he knows the problem, maybe the solutions that he's going to come up with will save our lives. And if we save our lives, our children will have a better future. Mas gaganda ang kinabukasan ng ating mga kabataan at sa susunod na henerasyon. After all, bakit ba tayo nandito sa mundong to? Hindi ba? Para palaguin ang humanity at ang ating sarili. Mabigyan natin ng mas magandang kinabukasan at kalidad ng kabuhayan ang ating mga susunod na henerasyon. At kung gagawa tayo ng paraan para yung susunod na henerasyon ay mahihirapan, ano namang klase tayong tao? No? Dapat, all the time, ang iniisip natin that the next generation comes up with a better quality of life. And that's I suppose, all monotheistic religions. No? All monotheistic religions who advocate a certain kind of morality push this kind of concept.
May gathering ang religious groups coming, national prayer sa sitwasyon natin. And parang ako'y naniniwala talaga sa spiritual dimension, pwede magsimula eh. Yung sinabi mo nga kanina, the good intention behind it.
Right.
Ano ba yung motivation natin? Kaya natin ginagawa ito? Saan ang gagaling yung powerhouse natin? Sa Diyos ba o sa sarili natin? I think yun ang tama. Kasi narinig ko yung official pronouncement nila. Andun pa rin sila dun sa tayo yung light of Asia despite the situation. Tapos sabi nila, kung maiaayos ito, baka makita nila kung paano ang gagawin sa Asia. I remember when the Pope came here to UST, nung malakas pa siya, nung 1981, no?
Si John Paul II.
John Paul II. Lakas-lakas niya. Tapos nagsalita siya sa UST. Sabi niya, in this very ground, sabi niya, a new civilization will rise.
Wow.
A civilization based upon love.
Wow.
Natandaan ko yan, nag-stick sa akin. Sabi ko, teka muna, magsisimula sa Pilipinas ang isang uri ng sibilisasyon. Meaning, ang institusyon natin, ang tao, kung mag-behave, yung institusyon natin, maiaayos natin, makakahubog tayo ng isang lipunan na maka-Diyos at may pakikipagkapwa-tao. Yun ang, tas narinig ko itong pronouncement, itong interfaith to eh. Lately lang, siguro kahapon ko lang narinig. Kasi ang basa ko kasi, hindi naman talaga, andyan lang naman